and welcome to Idle Talk, the new chat show about cars from Total Revs. To my south is Omar and Aaron. They do other things on Total Revs, but mostly showing off in cars. My name is Tim Smith. I'm wearing this t-shirt because I can't pay a debt off. So, you know, that's... let's say... Have you said hello to the viewers just yet?
Hello, viewers.
Hello, viewers. And we are going to mess around on this show as well.
Are we?
Well, I am.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You can, of course, find us on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and, of course, YouTube. Shall we get on with the show? Now, before we begin, would you buy this? Looks like a nice sort of Nissan SUV thing, family thing. Would you buy that?
No.
Okay, well,
No
all right.
chance.
So let's say that you're a family man and or woman, and you would like a family car. And I mean, does that look like an acceptable car to buy?
No.
No. Okay. All right.
Depends. I don't know. No.
I'm really not a fan of it because that's a cash guy, if I'm not too much mistaken.
Yes.
Okay.
And, like, I don't know, it gives off the kind of like, I'm big man, yeah, 4x4 in it, bruv. But actually, it's a two-wheel drive piece of shit.
So as you can see, this comes from Dodgy Cars UK on Facebook. If we go to the before picture, so that's what it was before it went to the car supermarket. So I would suggest you don't buy that car.
Wow. That's pretty bent up.
I mean, it's polished up nicely, don't you think?
I mean, a couple of bit of armouring, you know, a bit of teacup.
At least the kids were safe. That's the.
Yeah, I suppose with that kind of impact, at least it's managed to keep everybody safe. I'll give the car that, but that's a big old...
What were they doing? What were they doing to achieve that?
I don't know, but that car is now on the market
Well,
as without it saying that it's been written off, without saying it's crash damaged, anything like that.
Really?
There will be a theme as this develops. Anyway,
Naughty.
let's move on to the news. In the last few weeks, we've seen, well, arguably the biggest story of the last few weeks has been the reveal of the Ferrari SP3 Daytona, which for my money is sort of a cross between a 330 P3, the 60s 24-hour Le Mans racer, and, well, probably the Ferrari Testarossa of the 1980s, which with those slats, etc. Now, Omar, does this stoke the fire in your loins?
I mean, yeah, this is just fabulous. I mean, there are a couple of Ferraris that have been released over the years that you think, well, they're all right. You know, we think it's got to be good because it's a Ferrari, but we often, is it actually? But that is a thing of beauty. And, just absolutely love it.
It's a piece of art, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely love it.
Glorious.
And I think, you know, you call something Daytona and it's going to sort of tell a petrol head something in it. It's going to get you going a little bit, but then is it going to deliver? And I think really, really does deliver. It's such a nice car.
Definitely. I mean, unfortunately, it's just one of those super mega rare limited runs that unfortunately sold out before I had the chance to pull out my wallet to actually buy one.
Right.
But I suspect that was the chef Gordon Ramsay. So, Mr. Ramsay, thanks for
Possibly.
that.
Or Hollywood Paul. Hollywood Paul. Thank you for that.
Hollywood Paul.
Good old.
Yeah, I mean, the top things about this car obviously is that it has no hybrid. It's just a naturally aspirated V12.
Thank God.
Which makes me love it
should
even
be.
more.
It's the most powerful V12 as well, isn't it?
I believe so, of all time.
Of all time.
Or naturally
Ever
aspirated
produced
power,
by Ferrari.
which is quite something. Yeah, I mean, it just looks great, doesn't it?
I really like the combination of the straight lines that sort of just meld seamlessly with all the curves on the car.
Oh, there we go.
I just don't think there's just one bad angle of it. Like, it all just works. It's got, like, hints of old school in it, and then hints of, like, newer stuff, obviously. And it, you know, sometimes that, you know, in certain cars that they've kind of gone back with design, with design elements, it doesn't quite work to combine. But with this one, I think it just combines really lovely. It really works nice.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on, in the United States, which is that place over sort of there, they will not be getting the upcoming M3 Touring. So, do we feel sorry for our brothers and sisters over in the United States of America? Remember, they get the manual non-comp M3 that we don't get. Is that a fair swap?
See, the reason why I don't feel sorry for them is because they get the manual. And as far as I'm concerned, like, yeah, manual is a dying thing. We all know this, but it's so lovely when a new car does come out that's got a manual option, because I really like that. So they've got that. So now we've got something.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Aaron?
I mean, personally, I'd prefer the auto anyway, so I'm not too fussed, because the automatics are so good these days that actually it just makes a better ride when you're in a car like that. And
It's connected, mate.
you know, if we weren't to be getting the Touring, I would be just as angry as the American market are at the moment, and I would be signing that change.org petition to get them released in the US, which is a real thing. Look it up. But you know, we've looked at sort of modified M3s in the past where people have turned them into Tourings. We've seen the E46 concept, and we were just like, give us that, and they finally have. It's just unfortunate that it's now the Bugs Bunny front end.
Well,
Yeah. That is an issue all round, I think, for everybody, is that that front end, unfortunately, although I have got used to it a little bit more, certainly after seeing it in the metal, I don't know, you look at other things side by side and you think, really? Is that what you've given us?
yeah.
It's like, you know, I suppose if we're going to have a little bit of a moan about BMW, you know, I look at, say, the Mazda 3, which is a fantastic looking little hatchback. You stick that next to a BMW 1 Series and you think, really, BMW? Is that what you're giving us? Is that what you want? Anyway, yeah, it's a very exciting thing.
It's a very difficult time for BMW design, in my opinion.
It is, but they are, you know, one of the most successful car companies in the world. They're ahead of Mercedes and Audi at the moment. You know, they're doing fantastically well, so they're obviously doing something right.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not for us car enthusiasts to judge. Either way, do you have an opinion on BMW styling? I'm sure you do. Everyone does. Please put it down in the comments, or maybe tell me how good you think the Mazda 3 looks, because for my money, it's one of the best looking cars, well, in production right now. There's a controversial thing to say. I'm sure you'll have something to say about that. Either way, let's move on. So the government has just introduced a new legislation for a £200 fixed penalty fine and 6 points for looking at a screen while driving, while in charge of a motor vehicle. So you could be waiting at the traffic lights with your car in park or neutral, and you would still get told off for that. Or told off. You get told off by the government for that. To the tune of £200 and 6 points.
Dead naughty.
Anyway, this all follows a government consultation which was done online. We can see that on the screen here, where the majority of people voted that this law should be put in place. It also follows warnings from the police, because they're seeing increasingly people are dying or being injured in crashes which are caused by people looking at screens. And it also follows the successful overturning of prosecution by a driver who was, the police were attempting to prosecute him for dangerous driving for looking at a screen while he was driving. He overturned that by claiming that he was filming a crash. That's nice, isn't it? Omar, do you like to film crashes?
I struggle to find any kind of. Who would want to film a crash? You know, I mean, if you see a crash, I think that the human instinct is to go over and try and help in some fashion, or help, maybe call the emergency service or something. But just sit there filming it, it says a lot about you, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah.
Aaron, how do you feel about this legislation?
Yeah, I think Mr. Shapps, our almighty Transport Secretary, is 100% correct. It needs to be put in place. It's a harsh punishment for people who seem to value their text messages, their Insta over their own and the safety of other people.
Absolutely.
My safety, for instance. And yeah, there was loopholes initially in this rule where we weren't allowed to text or make phone calls at the wheel. And they've had to expand that now to playing games, recording videos, taking photos, and scrolling through social media. Which is just mental, because you'd expect people to realise that anyway, but apparently not. And they're using those loopholes to get out of fines and punishments.
It's just amazing that we're even having to say the words.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's a bit of that. There's also the fact that obviously, these phones, as we all know, are extremely addictive devices, and it seems that they're so addictive that we would rather look at them than look at a road ahead at 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
I mean,
when you think about it.
You get that feeling where you can hear it going off. Maybe that someone's got it in my passenger seat, and you can hear it buzzing. And you're like,
Yeah, you do.
and
Yeah,
you fight that urge.
you do.
Yeah,
and it's really
you do,
difficult.
yeah.
But obviously, you think, Ashley, I could die if I
But then,
look at this text.
but then also as well, when it comes to things like text messages, phone calls, even things like WhatsApp messages and Facebook Messenger messages and all this type of stuff, it all has functionality now through things like Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. So there is no reason to need your phone in your hand because that system. And if you don't, lucky enough to have a car that has that in place, there are also aftermarket systems now that do basically all of it anyway. So I just don't see there is a point to it.
But isn't the solution now, the new loophole, I suppose, is to have your phone in one of the cradles, because that's the only exception, isn't it? To have your phone. It shouldn't be in your hand, but you can have it displayed up there.
Wouldn't it be,
I was following somebody watching YouTube the other day.
Oh yeah, I've seen
Really?
that before
Yeah,
as
you
well.
can see it. They had the
My
cradle
God.
up in the middle of the dashboard, and they were watching a YouTube video.
Yeah,
They were the only ones in the car.
Safe.
Yeah. I want to run those people off the road. It drives me insane when I see that. I just think it's incredibly irresponsible.
Yeah, majorly.
Either way, I suppose when it's in a cradle, it's sort of the same as having a screen in a car.
But even
which is another topic.
Yeah, I was going to say, even then there's issues. Yeah, we're banking that one, Aaron. We're banking it.
Because that's
We're
screens
banking
in
it.
cars is something we will talk about another day.
Oh,
because there's a whole thing there.
That's a trigger. That's a triggering point
If
for me.
you voted for that thing, or if you voted against it, if you feel that we should be able to look at our phones in our cars, please do comment below, like, subscribe, share. That's the stuff we're meant to say, isn't it? Right. Okay. So next is I have another car that I'd like to show you actually. So this is a Mercedes Viano. You can tell it's a Viano and not a V-Class because it doesn't have a posh grille. This is basically a large it's a van with seats in it, and as you can see, it looks pretty good there. I mean, it's got 120,000 miles, but it's 12,000
miles.
I do beg your pardon, I can't read. I'd say that's a pretty good deal. Would you have one of those if you needed it as a working car?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really see that. I mean, it's a Merc, isn't it? Like, it's going to probably have a bit of equipment in it.
If I needed a van.
Yeah, van. It's just a van, isn't it?
Yeah, airport taxi maybe.
Yeah,
Should
something
we
like
have a look at the
kids I
before
don't
picture?
have.
Oh dear,
Ooh.
that's what it looked like before it was on the market. That car is now for sale. It also had at that point 298,000 miles, as you can see.
Is that a new engine then?
It's been written off and it's been clocked, I think is what we're showing there. So again, thank you to Dodgy Cars on Facebook. Go and check out their page.
I don't like that happened.
It is terrifying.
That's really, because even if you replace the engine, the rest of the car has been moving for that money. That is shocking. That is.
Yeah. It's also is it as shocking as the wrap? That's.
I was going to question.
When I look at that picture, I don't really think about. I don't see the damage. I see the wrap.
What's that in the top left? Is that the reg plate or is that something else?
I don't know.
The code.
Is it just a code? Oh,
It's
okay.
on the.
I thought you were trying to be hip or something.
Just trying to be hip.
Yeah. I'll put my reg plate elsewhere like that.
Okay. Okay, so moving on, we should head on into this week's main topic, or this month's main topic. This show's main topic. We'll get there eventually. So, in the last few weeks, we've had the L.A Motor Show. It is the first international motor show. I'm losing my voice. Hang on, I'll have some tea.
That'd be Total Revs Cup.
Yep.
Official merchandise. The
£25.
first international motor show since the before times, but since that cataclysm that's happened that we can't talk about, otherwise the algorithm will have a go at us. Of course, it is the domestic show of Ford, of GM, and large parts of Stellantis, which the last time I checked have about 200 different brands underneath their umbrella. So, gentlemen, Highlights, lowlights. What tickled your fancy? What made you feel good? What made you feel bad? Any conclusions, Omar?
Yeah, so one of the big things I felt looking at just in general, like as a wider thing, is the EV movement just felt so much bigger in this show. EVs have felt very sideshow in previous motor shows. This year, this one just really felt like EVs are now taking the front and center. Petrol diesels very much becoming the sideshow. And I think it just really does signify a real big change in the wind, and I think that's really important to acknowledge, is that it's really starting to move. So one of the highlights of the show that I took away was Kia. It's shocking to me that I actually find that Kia is more interesting to me now than a BMW or a Mercedes. And thinking about only 10 years ago, you'd laugh if you say you aspired to a Kia. And now we're really seeing them really do some nice stuff, really producing some really nice looking cars. One of which I found really interesting, was the EV9. Here we have the EV9. Concept car. Interestingly, it's a functional concept car, which kind of goes against the concept grain. Usually they're not really overly functional. We see some design elements that they're taking through in their design language moving on. We can see it's still quite angular, keeping with Kia's design ethos. What I do love about, though, the EV9 is it's got a good blend of classic modern and classic contemporary design that really just work well with.
I'm just going to have to stop you there, because first of all, when I look at that picture, I see there's no way to get into it. There are no door handles. That worries me. Second of all, surely this is just a more angular next generation Kia Soul.
Right, yeah. So again, but then even the current Kia Soul is quite a good looking car now.
Okay.
And yeah, you could see that, but designs, they grow and grow, don't they? So it would make sense that a current design is going to, meld into the next sort of era and so on. No door handles. Well, obviously we don't know if that's going to be the design they'll take forward. But TVRs didn't have door handles.
That's right, and they were consistently catching on fire, so that's good, isn't it?
Yeah, well, if a car doesn't catch on fire every once in a while, where's the fun in that? I don't see that.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, it's a great looking thing. I really like the design elements, and if we move forward into the interior, it's just so futuristic. It's really nice.
Star Trek.
Yeah, very much. But also as well, it's not too overpowering. Like some of the other, concepts that we see are so out there, you think to sit in it, it'd be like just too much. This feels really nice inside. And I'm quite excited to see if that's anywhere close to what we'll get in the coming years.
Okay.
And I just generally feel that Kia are just making some really good moves towards making cars just seem relevant again. Okay. There's a lot of things about modern cars I'm not so sure about. This I really like. Bit more boxy as well. I really like that. Yeah, just a great all-rounder for me. I really enjoy Kia this year.
So what did you not like?
So what I didn't like was this thing.
Ugh.
Absolute distaste for this thing. I can't imagine. I mean, Mustangs were known for so many wonderful things, and yet this just feels very overweight. The horse is basically given up. It's gone into retirement home. It's just dead, isn't it? It's just dead. And I think, it draws on one of the feelings I have, which is Mustangs were very relevant in the previous eras. I think now is the time to let Mustang die with a bit of dignity. I'm not saying Ford can't make a nice EV. I'm not saying that they can't make something really interesting and sporty for the next era. But this is not the way. To use a mark that just stood for power and sleek, it just doesn't work for me.
I mean, to be fair, that does have a lot of power. It is very quick.
It just looks awful. I don't care if it goes light speed. It looks awful. And it just feels like Mustang have really lost their way in the design. And I just feel like let Mustang die and let's come up with something nice and new and fresh for Ford. Let Mustang have its era. Let's look back at it with love and with happy thoughts. Let's not keep on producing something and, you know, distilling that kind of belief that, you know, Mustang is still relevant when actually we're just diluting it. We're just making it.
Yeah, and of course, oddly, the that was on the same stand as the current Mustang as well. So, you know, they had various Mustangs on, you know, all of them sort of different, standing for different things. It does seem to be a bit of a mixed message, I suppose you might say. Anyway, Aaron, highlights, lowlights, conclusions.
I mean, overall for me, like Omar said, the winds of change are blowing quite wildly, and the whole landscape of the automotive industry has just completely shifted, as has become apparent with the recent flood of EVs on display. And like you said, the petrol cars and the diesel cars were sort of an afterthought on the side of the show, but it was nice to see them there still. Obviously, I think the aim of manufacturers now is to address the key concerns that we all have on this planet, the key issues, if you will. So obviously climate change being the first one, which they're answering with these EVs and plug-in hybrids. And then the second one, interestingly, is the Hyundai 7, which is addressing the pandemic. And the magical thing about this car is that it's super hygienic, and apparently it self-sterilizes, and it has borrowed some technology from aeroplanes to circulate fresh air, and you can do it vertically, horizontally, depending on where your passengers are, to prevent the spread of diseases and germs.
That's interesting.
It's very interesting, yeah.
I'm not sure I like the design of the car.
It looks very similar to the Kia, though.
Yeah, but in some key areas, I'm not so sure.
Well, on the
about
inside, it sort of looks like your grandmother's living room, doesn't it? Like the colour as well.
Especially in that,
Yeah, there's... but yeah, so it's a strange thing to see all these new and interesting cars.
I mean, the key thing about this car, obviously, is that it has no steering wheel.
Yeah.
This is the sort of car you're going to yell at, isn't it?
That's a lounge, you know.
Yeah, it is.
That's a space.
That
for
chair
sitting
swivels
in.
as well.
That's not a space for driving in. You know, the way that chair is, that's a seat for sitting in. It's not the seat to be braced in, is it?
No, definitely not.
Which you are in a driving seat. So. You know, there's. So you say that this. You know, one of the key things about this is the fact that it can sterilise itself, etc., and it's sort of disease free, and that's very zeitgeisty. However, it does appear to be quite a statement of intent on autonomous driving as well.
Yeah, very much.
This is coming.
Okay,
it's coming.
Yeah,
and it's scary. You know, it's going to be a new normal soon, isn't it? Before we know it.
Possibly. Depends whether they can solve the problems that are ahead of them, and those problems are myriad, as I understand it. Okay, so, and what did you not like?
Well, I'd rather go for what I liked, Tim.
Oh, okay. Well, you're positive.
I like to start positive and go
go
negative at the end. You know, I like to kill my enthusiasm. So, yeah, I think my favourite thing was the Porsche GT4 RS, the Cayman there, and it's glorious. Yeah, Porsche. Sorry. Porsche.
It's
not Porsche.
It is Porsche.
It's Porsche.
All right, sorry, Tim.
Tomato.
No.
Porsche. All right, sorry. I'm going to do that again. My favourite thing about the LA Auto Show was the Porsche Cayman GT4 RS. Happy, Tim?
No, never. I will never be happy. It's a curse. Anyway, carry on.
That's fine. But yeah, so in my opinion now, the Cayman appears to be the go-to car for anybody wanting to buy a Porsche. That is not only good on the road. A Porsche, Porsche that's not only good on the road, but a wicked track toy as well.
Yeah.
And this one sort of sits as a middle car between the Cayman GT4 and the Porsche 911 GT3 RS. It's a bit lighter than the RS, and it creeps close in terms of power as well. So it'll be interesting to see how the two actually compare on a track.
I mean, it's one hell of a thing.
It is, isn't it? It looks glorious.
It feels to me like, you know, this is the last of this. I know we keep saying this as car enthusiasts. We keep saying this is the last time we're going to see a car like this. This really feels like, because the next generation Boxster will likely be electric.
Yeah. I mean, they are said with this car. They said it themselves that it's built to celebrate the mid-engine platform.
Right.
Porsche's mid-engine platform. So I got it right then, didn't I? And so it does beg that question: will it be the last petrol Cayman that we see? And with that question in mind, I decided I wanted one. So I went on the computer the other day and I configured one.
Okay.
And here it is.
Oh,
glorious, right? It goes with the t-shirt as well.
Yeah, I've got a Bumblebee vibe going on.
It's all right, I think. Got yellow seat belts, yellow pull handles on the doors.
Do you have to have the bonnet carbon coloured?
No, that's with the Visac package.
I see.
Sorry, the what package?
The Visac.
Visac.
With a W.
Oh,
Visac. Yeah, you can see it on the seat.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so it's a special limited edition package.
So what do you get with the Visac?
So you get that carbon fibre bonnet, you get a titanium roll cage. There are some fancy wheels that you get, but I opted for the stock ones because I just preferred them.
Okay.
And you get the embossed Visac RS logo in the seats.
Yeah.
And a few other things, I'm sure. But yeah, anyway, this one unfortunately cost me £130,000 in my configurator, which is £130,000 more than I'd like to spend. So unfortunately, I haven't got it. And I would like to highlight that £130,000 doesn't include the cost of the £9,000+ watch that you can get with it.
What?
A what?
Yeah.
What?
There's a watch.
There is a watch that you can configure as well to go with your car.
You can configure a watch, but that is a £9,000 option.
Plus. Yeah, it depends how you configure it. But it,
Does it make you a cup of tea?
It shares the VIN number.
Does it make a cup of tea?
Unfortunately, it doesn't make you a cup of tea, no.
Right.
But that's what these are for. But yeah, so apparently it's been the technology in this watch has been developed by Porsche for 3 years.
What they've been developing for 3 years?
How to keep track of time.
How
of course.
have they added to the already settled technology?
I'm a car guy. I'm a car guy who can't tell the difference between Porsche and Porsche. So I have no idea about watches. But this also has the Visac package on it, you see.
What?
Yeah, it's got the carbon fibre face.
It's got a carbon fibre face. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
right, so I mean, the main question is if you saw somebody with this, and viewers out there, just answer yes, I would, or no, I wouldn't. Would you judge a person with this watch on? Just yes, I would, or no, I wouldn't. You don't need to say anything else. Would you judge a person with this watch on? Because I think I kind of would, to be honest. What about you, gentlemen?
Well, you can only get it if you own a Cayman GT4 RS.
Yeah,
So
but
that's
then you
important
have
to
to have that
But
strapped to your
I
arm.
think, well, you wouldn't have to.
Does that? Sorry.
It's a nice watch, to be
On the
fair.
right-
I mean, this one works well enough. This was 40 quid, if anyone's interested.
I'm not sure if it's the angle where I'm looking at it, but on the right picture where you see the dial, on the right hand side of that dial, does it have a P on it?
That's a Porsche design logo.
Oh right, okay.
Porsche design.
Oh right,
Sorry.
okay, right, okay. I suppose that's worth at least £2,000 just there.
Oh yeah, definitely. And the Race Tex strap. That's
Right,
their
okay.
fancy term for leather
Right.
that they use on the interior of the car.
Right, so
or you can get a titanium one, but I fancy the leather because
titanium strap.
To improve your lap times somehow?
lightweight.
With your wrist.
The watch
100%.
often slows you down on a lap time. I don't know.
Right, 'cause
Yeah.
I mean, if you're making a right-hander, you know, you want to go that way, you're going to have to lift your wrist.
Sure. Okay.
So you want something light.
It's just
But
that's
yeah,
just gluttony.
you can get it
isn't That's
engraved.
just-
You can get your own personalised engraving. on
Okay,
there.
I think we should move on from the Porsche watch because
Alright,
it
I'll go-
really is a
I'll
thing of
talk about the horrible
stupidity,
bits
but, okay, so go ahead.
So my low light, unfortunately, I don't have a picture of it, but I'll describe it to you. It is 8-year-old Omar's dream car, and it's made by Mattel, and it's a replica of Barbie's car, and it's glorious. I thought you'd like it.
Really?
Yeah, and
Oh,
it's,
okay,
it's
right.
based on the Fiat 500e, which, you know, it's 2021, the world is burning.
So now it's doubly insulting because not only is it a Barbie car, but it is also a Fiat 500.
electric as well.
Right, so now it's triply insulting.
But you like the Kia.
Are you not a fan of 500s?
Oh, I can't stand them. I
Okay,
hate
that's
them.
the thing for it. We're getting sidetracked here. We'll talk about that another time. Okay, so the
I'm
Barbie
going to describe it, and I've got a few notes here so I don't miss a beat. Okay, so it's got super sparkly white paint.
Oh.
It's got a hot pink interior, rainbow rims, 22 inches on the back, 20 inches on the front, because of course, and it's got gold star headlights, which are very, very functional, and wing-shaped doors.
It sounds
what
awful.
more could you
it
want?
sounds awful.
Yeah,
it
to
sounds
you now,
hateful.
at 33 years old, or however old you are.
I've been
but
5
8-year-old
years old and
Omar-
that sounds hateful.
I would thoroughly recommend looking up footage of this vehicle because, my goodness me, it really is. It's a thing in the world. It's something that's happened. It's happened to all of us, and we are responsible for that, I believe.
Well done,
Oh,
Mattel.
I refuse to take any responsibility for something like that.
Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Yeah.
So BMW presented us with this image.
Oh God.
Exactly, and it's a
Could you
teaser.
fit a planet in that grill?
Potentially, you'd see it as well because it's all lit up. This
Lord.
is a teaser image for the BMW Xm. So
Sorry,
it's a dedicated M car for the X.
Are those
Right.
lights on the roof?
Yep, so it's got roof lights, it's
Right.
got very, very squinty headlights,
Yeah.
and of course it's got that massive illuminated kidney grille.
I mean, it's just
So
disgusting.
what we're saying is this is not a tribute to the Citroen XM, which was quite a cool car. This is
This
a
is
giant X series car.
Yeah.
As I understand it, it's one that sits above the X7.
this is going to be
which
the
already
top of the line.
very large
the
car.
Alpha.
So how I understand this car is it will basically be like what the X6 is to the X5. So this will be it will be basically an XM
Essentially
to
an
the
X.
X7.
Yeah.
So we'll have very large, powerful engines in it. The M5 engine essentially.
Yeah.
And it,
And thankfully, it's an engine.
well, let's be straight about this. It is not meant for this country, is it? I mean, it's for the Middle East. It's for China, possibly. It's for the United States.
I mean,
they can keep it.
Yeah, absolutely.
no,
they
I'm-
are so welcome to it. Like, literally, they are so welcome to
I'm
it.
incredibly uncomfortable. The more I look at it, the more uncomfortable I feel.
Do you know what? Sometimes, when you look at a car, you say, I don't really like it. You can look at it, take it in, and you say, oh, I'm starting to see why it could be good. But this, the longer I look at it, the worse it gets.
Well, and it is that old thing where they've released a concept teaser sketch and it's in the dark.
Yeah.
So you worry like
What else is going on? I mean, I
that's
can
it.
They're
kind of
obviously very
see
confident
in the
that.
right-hand corner, you can kind of see like a triangular sort of maybe part of the bumper.
Yeah, so it sort of comes
Yeah, and
like
that
here.
to myself worries me again because it's like, what is going on with the design? Did someone maybe have like some kind of substance they're not allowed to have when designing this car? Because it just feels off.
The devil's lettuce.
No, absolutely not. No,
Yeah,
what were you
but,
no.
but anyway, if you are somebody who's interested in this sort of thing, by the time this video is released, we'll have more information on the XM. So be sure to take a look. But
Yeah.
Okay, so there we are. That's the L.A Motor Show and some other things. You heard it here, at least probably second or third, probably not first. Either way, it was entertaining. I think it was entertaining. Just moving on, I just want to quickly just say to you, gentlemen, what this looks like a sort of.
I
a
don't
normal
trust you
car.
anymore. I don't
It
trust
looks-
you.
It looks all right, doesn't it?
So this is a Tesla, isn't it?
Yeah, Model S.
Model S, yeah.
Um,
I actually quite like the Model S. I think it's the best Tesla that they make. It's nice.
I'd say it's probably an
Depends
earlier
on the
one,
age.
just going from that grille.
Yeah, yeah.
So, they did have quality problems, but of course, this one might be sorted. Maybe the battery
Might
life
be.
is still good.
Might
Depending
be.
on price.
But we know this one won't be now.
Okay, so let's go to the
But
before
considering
picture.
dodgy cars, you, oh
dear.
my god!
Oh, what happened? So the radiator. Wow.
I like how we've got the interior shot there as well, just so to be
What's
clear.
going on with the window? Are they like stick it back together or something? Like,
Maybe it's been rolled. Maybe, I don't
get some
know.
sellotape on that, lad.
That is what it was ludicrous.
So it's obviously
That
had a
is
side.
ludicrous.
It's had a side impact then.
I couldn't say. I don't really know.
Thing is,
but-
if
but
you
that,
look at the bonnet and like part of the wing, it doesn't seem to show much, and even like the structure there, it doesn't seem to have much of an impact. So
Yeah, well,
what has happened?
It's a strong car.
Yeah, but
quite blatantly.
what was the impact though? Like what exactly happened to this? This is interesting.
This is what happens when you put batteries in cars.
What?
That-
It falls apart.
Yeah, that's it.
Welcome.
It just blows up. Look, that was an explosion.
It's
I guarantee
a
it.
very localized
Yeah,
explosion.
the
Welcome
lithium
to
just
Total
went
Revs,
bang.
where our opinions don't make any sense.
Oh my god.
Okay, so moving on, I think we can move on to the next subject. Total Revs is sponsored by Phil Speed Engineering. They do engine rebuilds and remapping, and loads of other performance stuff. Apparently they're really good. They've got 5 stars on Google, which is more than your mum. I'm sure your mum is a really nice person. I really like your mum. She's really nice. I don't know why I've tried to insult her like that. I do apologise. Anyway, if you quote Totally TR101, you will get 10% off. Please quote that because our sponsorship relies on it, and we need that money. Television is an interesting thing. You can now get it on your phone and some other screens as well, probably in your car, probably. I quite like television. I've been watching Netflix recently. I've been watching Hollywood Paul Goes to Europe and Drives Cars and then sometimes flirts with ladies. Omar, have you been watching some television recently? What have you been watching?
Actually, I've been revisiting my childhood a little bit with The Cannonball Run, which is a film, really, it's like a gumball rally sort of thing, race from one end of the US to the other, weird and wonderful cars, and the cast is kind of like an amalgamation of all the biggest stars during that era. So, you've got like Frank Sinatra, Burt Reynolds, Dean Martin, Samuel Davis Jr., all that kind of stuff. And it's absolutely hilarious. The Cannonball Run 1 is quite interesting. You've got Roger Moore in an Aston Martin DB5 with gadgets.
Okay.
And what is also quite interesting about that is he's playing Roger Moore pretending to be James Bond.
Right.
Oh
so it's quite good. It's quite
very
good.
meta.
Yeah. And then you got Cannonball Run 2, which it's the same sort of deal. You got Jackie Chan in a overly modified Mitsubishi.
Starion, as I recall.
Yeah, that's right. And they all sort of dress up in this one. So, Burt Reynolds is playing like a general in like a limousine so he doesn't get pulled over. Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Samuel Davis Jr. are a policeman. And it's all about road chases, police, hot girls in Lamborghinis.
Yeah.
And I just absolutely loved it when I was a kid, and I've just been rewatching them, and they're great films. And if you've got some time, and you do like cars, and you like a bit of comedy, just go and watch these films. They're absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I should say, just viewer discretion is advised. They are films of their time. They are full of cultural stereotypes and lots of boobs. Which is, I don't want to say that any of those things are particularly good, but these films are still enormously enjoyable.
Yeah.
Aaron, what have you been watching?
Well, mine's not nearly as exciting. So, as we are probably all aware, Fast and Furious 9 has just come out. And I've heard lots of interesting things, and it's just made me feel like I don't want to watch it. But I feel like I've been bullied into watching it. So to do so, I'm going to rewatch the other 8 in order, the other 9 actually, with Hobbs and Shaw, to build up to that amazing moment where they apparently go to space. So I'm very excited for that. I'm currently on the 3rd one, Tokyo Drift, which to sum it up is essentially nobody from the original films racing around Tokyo.
Arguably the best one, I think.
Probably the best one, though, yeah. And then Vin Diesel turns up at the end and goes...
I actually found number 4 the best.
Okay.
Yeah, they're a bit older.
3 is the only one I've made it all the way through.
Oh, okay.
Without just being like, I can't hack this anymore. This is terrible.
I think now with Fast and Furious, I think the key is if you don't take it seriously, you can have fun with it.
I know.
If you expect a serious film, then you're not going to enjoy it. That's my opinion.
As you know, Omar, I'm a very serious man. Anyway, moving on. This week we have a viewer, one of our favourite viewers, young lad by the name of Lawrence. He has a question for us. If you have a question for us, please put it into the comments or shout it at us from across the street. Don't do that. Anyway, here is Lawrence. He has a question for us.
What's your favourite Bond car and why? My personal favourite is the Lotus Esprit that goes underwater.
Good choice.
Okay, that was adorable. I just want to say that. I like his T-shirt as well.
I like his hat. Personally.
Yeah,
it's the
that
same
hat's
as mine.
a very good fashion choice, Lawrence.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm very proud of you.
Okay, so your favourite Bond car? There's a problem here because the obvious answer is the DB5. So what I'm going to say is, what is your favourite Bond car that is not the DB5? For me, it's the Renault 11 Taxi, which gets smashed to pieces, and then Bond ends up driving just the front end of it, because that's what I feel like in life most of the time. So that car is just me, just sort of scrabbling around in bits most of the time.
So very
Omar,
representative of you then.
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
it
right,
kind of
okay.
embodies me in many ways. So, Omar, what's your favourite Bond car?
Right, so mine has to be, well, you know, some call it the Vanish. Yes, it's the absolutely fabulous Aston Martin V12 Vanquish. For me, it's probably one of the best looking Aston Martins of its era. And, I mean, it does the ejector seat and it flips up. And it has a little grab, you know. And and it is invisible, you know, which means that, you know, you don't get to be caught doing, you know, the speed that you would like to be doing in it. So I think it works out for
But then
everybody.
nobody would see you and they just crash into you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a foolproof plan, I grant you, but...
Okay, moving on.
So yeah, I would go for the BMW Z8 because it just looks amazing, and it's sort of like a watered down version of the DB5 in terms of tech, except for the fact it's got massive missiles on the side.
What in the world? A watered down version of a DB5?
Well,
Are you
the
all right?
DB5.
Yeah,
you know,
no.
it doesn't have the machine guns in the front, but it's got missiles on the side, which blow up helicopters, and then it does get cut in
Sawn in
half
half,
by
yeah.
a helicopter.
They
But-
would never do that to a DB5 because it would be sacrilege.
I have to say, the Z8's appearance in that film is, shall we say, disappointing, because we all knew that it was going to be in that film and we were quite excited about it. It was so new that I believe it wasn't actually a Z8, it was a prototype.
It was
Yeah.
a kit car, essentially.
Yeah, because it wasn't out at that stage. And what happens is it drives to the end of a pier and then it's cut in half. And that's all that happens in that film.
But
for that
it did
car.
blow up a
And the car
helicopter.
itself is gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean,
It is.
gorgeous looking
I
car.
mean, in the Pierce Brosnan era, where you had the 750,
Yeah.
wasn't it? And then you had the Z3. Those two were failures. Apart from the great car park scene with the Z50, there's 750,
The 7, yeah.
which was actually quite a good scene. But as a car, I mean, right, he's driving.
Oh, you're picking a fight there. Those now, I might be wrong about this, but I believe that's the E38 7 Series, and they've got a huge following now, and they look really good.
No, I'm not saying they don't. I'm not saying they don't look good. I'm not saying it's not a bad car. Now that scene is probably one of my best car chases in all of Bond. However, it is still, you know, a 4-door business car.
Okay, all right. So, thank you very much, Lawrence. Thank you for watching. And what I would say is Omar right or wrong about the BMW 7 Series? Just write yes or no. That's all I want. I don't want any explanation. Just yes or no.
And
in
no
the
and no
comments.
abuse. No abuse.
No, because
Please.
I couldn't take it.
Please do like or subscribe or whatever it is. Comment. Please engage with this content because it really helps us make more. Thank you very, very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.